Step inside the stadium with me, under the lights. Tonight, we're not just looking at a football match, we are looking at an absolute masterclass. Welcome to our explainer, where we are decoding one of the most magical nights in the entire history of Aston Villa Football Club, a sweeping, breathtaking 4-0 triumph against Nottingham Forest. 44 years. They waited. Just let the sheer gravity of that number sink in for a second. That is 4.5 decades of near misses, of heartbreak, of watching other teams lift silverware on the continent. 44 long years since this proud, historic club from Birmingham last reached a European final. I mean, we're talking about a true generational drought here. You know, the ghosts of that legendary 1982 European Cup winning team have cast this long, beautiful, but really heavy shadow over the club. Because for 30 years, they haven't held a major trophy of any kind. You could practically feel that heavy historical weight pressing down on the pitch. But the narrative is shifting. Those legends of yesteryear, they're finally making room, welcoming a brand new generation right into the hallowed halls of Villa folklore. All right, let's dive right into section 1. The Unai Emery effect, engineering a European giant. To really understand this momentum, you have to look at the sheer velocity of Emery's project. Look, they came into this second leg trailing to a penalty from last week. But Emery, he's a specialist. November 2022, he takes the reins of a struggling club. Fast forward 2 years ago, they're in the Conference League semifinals. Last term, Champions League quarterfinals. And now, May 2026, he has dragged them all the way to the Europa League final. The momentum is just staggering. But here's the thing. To build a masterpiece, sometimes you actually have to break a few things first. Lean in for this one, because this was a massively bold gamble. To ensure European glory, Emery made a highly calculated sacrifice. Just days prior on Sunday, he fielded a heavily changed side in the Premier League. The result? An abject, punishing defeat to Tottenham. He literally threw away the domestic points, all to keep his true weapons sharp for this exact European night. So, with the stakes incredibly high and over 43,000 screaming fans packed into Villa Park, expecting a miracle, how exactly did Villa overturn that first leg deficit? How did this tactical masterclass actually unfold on the grass? Early on, man, it was tense. It was frantic. Forest, even without Morgan Gibbs-White, looked really sharp. James McCaddy switches the play rapidly, Omari Hutchinson cuts inside and whips a terrifying effort just wide. It was a massive early scare. But then, the fervent atmosphere of Villa Park just takes over. And from that moment on, it is a booming, unrelenting wave after wave of Aston Villa dominance. They absolutely suffocated Forest. The 36th minute is where everything changes. Emiliano Buendía gets the ball. He shows mesmerizing skill. I mean, he literally ghosts past Elliot Anderson. He glides past Jair Cunha. He lays the ball perfectly on a plate, and Ollie Watkins simply cannot miss from 3 yards out. The ball hits the net, the aggregate tie is leveled, and it absolutely lifts the roof off the whole stand. The noise was deafening. The second half kicks off, and the energy does not drop for a single second. 57th minute, a sudden critical error from Nottingham Forest. Nikola Milenkovic needlessly pulls Pau Torres to the ground. Referee Glenn Nieberg gets sent to the pitch side monitor by VAR, and he points to the spot. Buendía steps up from 12 yards out, and he fires Villa into the aggregate lead. What a massive tactical shift. From there, it is just sheer ruthlessness. 36 minutes, Watkins opens the door. 58 minutes, the Buendía penalty kicks it wide open. And then, the captain arrives. 77th minute, John McGinn is left completely unmarked at the far post and strokes it home. Just 3 minutes later, Morgan Rogers plays him in again, and McGinn finds the near post. A quick-fire double. It was an absolute avalanche of goals. 10. Just 10. That is the number of games Nottingham Forest had gone unbeaten in all competitions before they walked into Villa Park. They were incredibly formidable. And yet, when faced with Unai Emery's system, they completely folded. A 10-game streak just vanished into thin air in the face of a 4-0 thrashing. And you know, if we look away from the pitch for a second and up into the stands, what a scene. There, delivering a literal royal seal of approval, was Prince William. Just a fan in absolute raptures, grinning from ear to ear, caught up in the exact same overwhelming joy as the rest of the stadium as he watched his beloved side orchestrate this historic victory. The architect of it all perfectly summarized the magnitude of the night. Unai Emery simply stated, "The team hit their collective and individual best levels of performance." Wow. When a manager who demands such intense perfection acknowledges that every single player hit their absolute peak, you know for sure you have witnessed something incredibly special. And the experts? They completely agree. ESPN's Don Hutchison perfectly, bluntly put it. Aston Villa were magnificent. Not just good, not just lucky, magnificent. This was a 4-1 aggregate masterclass that completely dismantled a previously unbeaten opponent. And so, the roadmap leads right here, the culmination of 44 years of waiting. Next stop, Istanbul, May 20th. Waiting for them under the bright lights of the final is the formidable Bundesliga outfit, SC Freiburg. The stage is perfectly set for an epic, sweeping conclusion to this European campaign. So, the crucial question we are left with as we wrap up today's explainer is this. We've seen the strategy, the calculated sacrifices, and the absolute ruthless execution. But will this mastermind manager truly crown Aston Villa's epic journey? On May 20th, will they finally break that agonizing 30-year major trophy drought and conquer Europe once again?